I am super excited because we just wrapped up our Power Message and Monetization Intensive with Alex. And Alex, first of all, what you just said before we hit record was this was the clearest that you have felt in your messaging, which this is the whole goal, the whole reason of why we do this. So I'm so grateful that you've had that experience, and I always love to allow others to share how they feel about their experience. So first I'll just ask you, what made you want to invest in an intensive and specifically work with me to work on up leveling your next level message?
Yeah, yes. Hello, thank you so much. What really made me want to do the investments, I'm ready to pivot fully in my business, and I wanted to make sure that I was clear. I feel like when I started my business, I just started the business and I went right in there. And I've done some messaging work before, and then I stop and then I start again. And this time, with this being the biggest pivot in my business and it really being heart led, it's like I need this stuff in order. And I've been watching you, I've been lurking and following you for a couple years now. And I was like,
Oh,
okay, I'm ready to do it. So therefore, I just wanted to go ahead and work with the best. And so that's what made me make the investment.
oh, awesome. I actually didn't know that part. I didn't know. So that's really cool. And I'm grateful that you decided to make that decision. One thing that I really love is that the women I get to work with, it's like, here, I'm not new. I've been doing this, right? Alex has been a CPA, CF, P. She knows all the things, right? Financially for 13, plus years. So the women I work with, right, y'all aren't new. But there's something that happens when you're ready to pivot into your message. So I'm curious if you would share what was it that made you realize, okay, it's not that I need a new message. There's just this next level of my message that I'm wanting to get to. What do you feel was in your way of stepping into that next level message or identifying that next level clarity?
Yeah, I think a lot of me it was holding into my identity as the CPA, and primarily I did tax planning and tax preparation for business owners, and that was what I felt like I was known for. And now in this new season I'm transitioning in, I've done my own personal development journey, and I realized just how much money is so emotional.
Mm.
And I've started tying that in when I'm working with clients. And so I recognize about nervous system regulation, managing your money mindset, in addition to, yes, the 13 years of experience of working with business owners and high net worth individuals primarily. And I was like, wait a minute, but I couldn't figure out how to explain what I was doing to where it made sense. And it wasn't just like this woo woo accountant talking about feelings. It was like, no, I want to be able to express the importance and how you need to look at everything. And so I had this idea of the framework that I had, but really being able to work with you and get very clear on the framework and how it ties in and why it's so important is really what I was looking for, because it also allowed me to really say, oh this is it. This is it. Right. And working with you, I realized I was like, oh my gosh, first of all, I was like, my framework is so fire. But also I really could see how just how important this process is with working with clients. And I wanted to do it justice by having the words to communicate it.
You just said a whole word, so many things. Okay, so what I heard was so many times I'm working with individuals who are like yourself, high achievers and so intelligent, so smart. Like, on paper, you know your stuff. There's no question about that. And and as you start to grow in how you're working with your clients, your method starts to change. You start adding new stuff. I can't tell you how many times we've been on intensives and we identify secret things people were teaching and talking about, like, oh, Kira, I do that too. And I'm like, but that's not in your frame. That's not on the paper where we go to sell and pay you. So how do I know as a client you do that? You don't talk about it. It's what I do behind the scenes because it comes so natural. So making sure that we take all those elements and we not only put them into the framework, because I'm not about let's have a pretty framework chart from Canva so it looks pretty and I look professional. I'm about how do we actually sell that framework, whether you're doing licensing, whether you're doing speaking, you're coaching, you're consulting, you're teaching, any whatever your thought leader offers are, like, how are we making sure we position the signature method? And so and that method expands. The method that you had year one 13 years ago is the method that is different 5 years ago. and now it's different today, right? And you're adding in those elements. So that's what I geek out and love, is sitting and helping women who are like, okay, I'm not new. I know what I'm doing, but there's other things that I'm doing that I want to incorporate. I want to make sure it's organized. I want to make sure I don't confuse people. I want to make sure I'm not looking like I'm in 5 different lanes. How do I anchor in and make sure all of these things are coming together cohesively and I'm communicating them? Because confused buyers, they won't buy, especially for someone like you who's looking to, elevate. Most of our clients are looking to 2 to 5x their business, their rates, all that. So how do I make sure I'm repositioning my work and reinforcing the value more powerfully? So, and just updating it, refreshing it, right? That's what remessage is all about. So, I love that. And I'm curious, now that you have this level of, well, how are you feeling about your message right now? Let me ask that
I'm
first.
really I'm really excited about it. And it's so interesting that you also said you find these secret methods that people are using, because you actually did that during our intensive, when I shared that I had helped the client actually see that they were making like $28 an hour in their business. We were able to go through, and she was like, wait a minute, this is part of your work. You didn't tell me that this wasn't in the framework. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do help with that. And so when you said, I was like, yeah, you're right. You do find these secret components of the offer. But as far as my message, I feel excited. I feel actually excited. I'm someone who I don't love. I newsflash, I don't love always creating content necessarily,
Yeah.
but now after having my framework, I'm actually excited. I'm like, oh wow, I see the way it flows, and it almost feels easy because I can just pick a line and actually talk about it. And I'm someone who I better work when I'm in flow, and so the intensive and the way it's set up, I think it really speaks to me, because I can just, when I'm feeling it, just like, oh, this is the line that I want to talk about, and just go.
Yeah. And I want to bring the embodiment in this. Do you feel like you are able to better embody your work and your message now?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I
Yeah.
feel like my confidence has definitely increased, because I really am speaking to the transformation that my clients are going to get. It's not just, I feel like I'm an accountant. And so sometimes it's very black and white with me. But now it's like, okay, no, what are my clients needing to actually see and hear? And I actually see and hear it
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
so not only, so yes, it's the embodiment, and then just really being able to speak to that transformation.
The reason I asked about embodiment was when you talk about your flow, because now most of my clients are at a place where you all, for yourself, but also for your teams, you're wanting to elevate your productivity, your content flow, your workflow in general, sales flow, all the things, right? And so we're using all of the next level messaging to do that, right? To better pre-sale, pre-qualify. And I feel that for me, I've had experiences where if I'm not in my flow space, the content just something feels off. And so when I work with clients and we're doing the intensives or we're in Money in the Message, either way, they're in a space where it's like, Kira, I'm able to feel the message. So, and the reason why is because this whole intensive is built off of us extracting so much out of you, right? Of what you want to say. Because then when you go to create the content, we've already extracted. Now you're going to continue to grow and expand, and you're going to add to it. And we make sure we, teach you that this is a living, breathing document.
Mhm.
You want to update it. Um, but there's something powerful to me about embodying the message where it's like, I get to pick a line because we already did the work to extract out the language and messaging we needed to from it. And now I can say, and today, what else do I want to add to this? And
Yes.
next week, I picked this. Okay, what else do I want to add to this? Like, is there anything new here? Any new, testimonials and positioning strategies and communication strategies and all that I want to add to it? But the foundation is there for you to be able to really flow. So I like to say that because I'm a practical. So I'm like mindset and strategy of like I want to have the strategic language behind this, but I also want to have the energy. And so together, making sure that you embody it so that you can be on stage, you can do a video free flow. You can do both. We can do curated strategic content and that we've pre-planned and scheduled, but then you can also mix in that intuitive, like this is my flow of what I want to say, that type of thing. So I always love to hear about that. Is there anything that you would say to a woman who wants to up level, amplify her messaging, her positioning, and all the things and how she presents, her work? And she's considering working with me, but she's not sure. She's on the fence. Is there anything you would like to say to her?
Go ahead and book the call, send the DM, however it works. Kiara's energy and her space. Because here's the thing, this girl goes hard and she is such an expert in her craft. And when you can't always find the words, she figures the way to even pull the words out as you're working with her. And so if you've been following her, something about your soul is leading you to her. Anyhow, I genuinely believe that. And I would just go for it. Take the leap because clearly you're being called to do it. And I genuinely believe that you're not going to leave that intensive the same.
Hearts, hearts, hearts. Thank you. When you said all in pause, I was like, wait a minute. We're not gonna go there. Because I love that, a lot of the work, and I'll say just briefly, even with you, like there's moments where we have to stop and do some mindset work. And that's with every client, no matter how much messaging we go into mindset work because there's a level of permission you have to give yourself. And so sometimes we do bring so much emotion into the intensive. We're like, listen, we're gonna have a side note on the intensive because that's a part of it. Like your messaging mindset is so a part of the messaging strategy. And if people don't understand that, then you need to watch a couple more of my YouTube videos. You need to come DM me, book a call, whatever it is. But I am so, so excited for our intensive. I'm so excited to see all the things you're about to do with it for your upcoming, retreat and your intensive and just the amazing work that you do. And if anyone is watching this and have questions somewhere around this video, you should see a way to contact us to share those questions. And until next time, love, shine, and success. Bye, y'all. Thanks, Alex.
All right. You're so welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.